And welcome back to Rowdy.com's look at the preseason top 20. Preseason top 20 as selected by NASCAR Illustrated. With me is Reid Spencer, lead NASCAR writer for the Sporting News NASCAR Wire Service, and of course staff NASCAR writer for Sporting News itself. And Reid, you and I had the opportunity a little while ago to talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. The other side of that coin is the guy we're going to talk about today. NASCAR Illustrated has him in at the 7th spot, Jeff Gordon.
Well, I think, personally, 7th is a bit too low for Gordon because finally he gets to move out of the shop that he shared with Jimmy Johnson and gets to move out of Jimmy Johnson's shadow. I mean, face it, Jeff Gordon hasn't won a championship since Jimmy Johnson became a full-time driver at Hendrick Motorsports. That being the case, Gordon really gets a fresh start, and he gets a new crew chief whom Mark Martin, who has had Alan Gustafson for the last couple of years, says is the smartest guy in the garage. I don't really disagree with that too much. I think Alan is a great technical guy, and I think he's the sort of crew chief that Gordon probably has needed over the last few years. I think Gordon will benefit from that, and I think that will propel him to some race wins, which he didn't achieve last year, and fighting for the championship at the end of the year.
It's interesting when you think about Alan Gustafson, because Mark Martin, certainly an icon, Jeff Gordon, certainly an icon. There's some similarities there, and probably, they bring a lot of experience. They know what they want out of a car, and I wonder if that's a certain amount of pressure on Alan Gustafson to be the guy that needs to get Jeff Gordon back to victory lane.
I think Alan will handle it well. I mean, Jeff Gordon made a funny comment in Las Vegas before the Sprint Cup banquet where he said, Mark Martin really doesn't even need a crew chief because Mark Martin can figure out from the seat of the car exactly what he needs, and he can pretty much tell the crew chief what to do. Gordon, on the other hand, I think needs somebody that can translate what Jeff feels in his butt to the race car. And, while Steve Letarte was a positive influence, I don't think Steve was that guy, and I think Alan very well could be that guy and could be the guy that can help Gordon with the communication between driver and crew chief and can get him going in the right direction.
Is it fair to say that Jeff Gordon is in the twilight of his career, or is he still a guy that should be out there contending for wins every week and contending for championships?
Oh, I think he should be out there contending for wins and championships. I think Jeff's still got an enormous amount of talent. And face it, he's not quite 40 years old yet. So that being the case, there are a lot of guys who have won past 40, and if you look at Mark Martin, who've won past 50.
Mm-hmm. And I can't help but having this image in my mind of Jeff Gordon leaving that garage and just sort of taking off this heavy coat that he's been wearing around for the past 5 years. He's the guy who sort of brought Jimmy in. Jimmy was his protege, and then you've got this situation where the protege eclipses the master. It must be a relief for Jeff Gordon.
Oh, I think so. I think he gets out of that shop, gets out of the shadow of Jimmy Johnson, as I said before, and also gets away from Chad Knaus, whom I'm sure knew absolutely everything that Steve Letarte was doing with Gordon's car. So maybe they can come up with some stuff, he and Alan on their own, that they can try and not be under the microscope the way they were when it was the 24-48 shop.
So you said 7 seems a bit low, so you think maybe a top 5 and some race wins for Jeff Gordon in 2011?
Oh, I fully expect that. I mean, remember, he finished second 2 years ago. He finished third 2 years ago behind Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin. He finished second in 2007. I mean, if you want to go the odd year thing, then it's 2011. Gordon's top 3.
All right, maybe we'll get his 5th in 2011. Thank you, Reid Spencer, for joining me to talk about these top 20 drivers. The countdown continues, so make sure you keep checking back.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.